Welcome back to Around the Block podcast. Today's episode is Belle LeBlanc, currently the Human Services Manager for the city of Lafayette, Louisiana. So excited to have her on the podcast episode today. Belle has over 3 decades of experience in serving the people of Louisiana in a number of roles. As Executive Director of Cadence of Acadian, she champions special populations such as the elderly, adults, and children with disabilities. Belle's other roles have included working in public safety, substance abuse treatment, and reentry, engaging with systems involved youth and their families. This unique experience gives her broad and real-world insights into the interconnectedness of effective community services and the challenges faced by each. Belle's skill set includes cutting through regulations to translate them into actionable programming while prioritizing the people that they are meant to serve. She does a fantastic job at that. Through her employment with Lafayette Consolidated Government, Belle is committed to supporting low and moderate income residents and reaching their goals through the federally funded programs that she oversees. Lafayette programs include housing counseling, rehabilitation, first-time homebuyer loans, and the lead capacity building program, and most recently, and what we're here to talk about today, the Bloomberg Mayors Challenge Grant Program. A Southwest Louisiana local with deep roots in Cajun culture, she grew up the youngest of 4 sisters, active and headstrong, armed with an endless number of questions. Those exact traits that often found her in hot water as a child have become assets in the world of public service. The always asking the why and then the why not, she believes that we can find solutions if we aren't afraid to ask the hard questions. Belle's community service roles, which include National Community Development Association board member, National Community Development Association Region 6 vice chair, Academia Regional Coalition on Homelessness Allocations Committee, and the Housing Alliance Steering Committee, and a foster pet parent as well. Belle holds certifications as a HUD housing counselor with a specialization in foreclosure and default prevention, LDEQ, lead inspector, and risk assessor, because why not? That's the Belle way. A proud graduate of the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, she holds a late-in-life earned master's in public administration from Arkansas State University. In her spare time, Belle can be found petting every animal that she sees, dancing to every song that she hears, and hunting down the best food across the globe like it's an extreme sport. And boy, do I know Belle, she finds the best food in the country and she loves to dance. Marty, that was a great episode. Tell me about some of your highlights.
Bella's such a breath of fresh air. She's so much fun. She's got good energy. I'm not surprised that they won this award in Lafayette. Purely sounds like the need is there, but also they really collaborated with throughout their community to make this happen. And it's not just about the sewer connections. It's much more than that, which is really cool. So when you hear the episode, you'll hear a little bit about that. So yeah, super. It was a fun episode. I wore this shirt specifically for Belle because, she's of a similar age to me, 90s, late 80s, so that's my girl.
Yeah, and one of the things I absolutely love is sewer is not a sexy topic, and hardly anybody talks about it until your sewer pancakes or breaks, and then it becomes a crisis. And the problem that they're solving in their community, they cannot build any more housing until they fix the problem. So for those folks listening out there, this is a super interesting topic on how they're solving their affordable housing crisis and why they need to focus on their sewer through this Bloomberg grant award.
And
Hope you
wait,
enjoy listening.
yeah, and I think just one thing, wait till you hear the cities that won this grant, and then find out who else won this grant in the United States or in North America. So it's pretty impressive what they did, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well.
Welcome back to Around the Block podcast. I am your host, Leah Larson. Joined with me today is my co-host, Marty Greenlee, and I am super excited to have Belle LeBlanc from Lafayette Consolidated Government. Belle, welcome to the podcast. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank y'all for having me. I'm super excited to be here. And I can finally say I'm Belle from the block now for today. So I'm the Human Services Manager with Lafayette Consolidated Government. So all of the programming that touches our constituents, focusing on low moderate income homeowners and constituents are managed under my programs. So I think we've been doing this here with LCG about 11 years, but I have about 3 decades of, I wouldn't say just social services work, but just serving the public in different capacities. So
And just
Awesome. Belle,
and just and just to clarify, Lafayette's in Louisiana.
it is in Louisiana. It's the
So
best
Miss
Lafayette.
Bayou herself.
that's right. Belle, you're one of my favorite people in that state. So love Louisiana, love your community. It was super cool to be able to actually go down there. Today we're going to be talking about what you guys are doing in the Bloomberg Philanthropy Award. I think it's pretty incredible that only 3 cities in the entire United States of America won that worldwide
Like,
recognition.
in North America.
North America.
North
See, there you
America,
go.
not
Only
just the
3.
United States. Yes.
I was shocked when I live right here in Boise, Idaho, and we were one of the 3,
Yes.
and you guys are, and then we have someone in Indiana. When most people hear Bloomberg Philanthropies and think it's just another grant, what's the story behind this challenge, and why is being selected as one of only 24 winning cities worldwide such a big deal?
To be totally honest, I did not initiate the application for the grant. So my input was requested because we do housing rehab. We have a current sewer repair program. So they kind of, interviewed me and got my take and everything, but I wasn't on that first initial team that applied. So I had no idea what to expect, truly. I didn't know if it was just another grant and, like, here's a check and fly, be free. But the interesting part came when we were announced as a semifinalist. So, as a semifinalist, you get a $50,000 grant to prototype. And then the amazing thing was we got an email that we were all invited to something called Ideas Camp.
Tell us about that. What does that mean?
Yeah, and so, like, I scanned it super quick. Yeah, Ideas Camp, it's gonna be in Columbia, so I'm thinking, like, South Carolina, like, what? No. Bogota, Colombia.
Wow.
Wow.
So they invite all 50 of the semifinalist winners to bring a team of up to 4 people. They arrange all the travel, they pay for everything. And Ideas Camp is just that. And it's bouncing ideas off of other applicants, countries, cities.
Wow.
So to me, once that occurred, I knew this was something different than I had ever seen before. And I think that they recognize that people have different capacities, and so this is the support that is needed to take an idea from good to great and to fruition. So to the actual steps that's going to make your idea with the rubber hits the road. So really once that experience happened, then I understood what was going on, but I didn't until that time.
I mean, man, if someone said, "Hey, Leah, you get to go to Columbia," and it's not, Columbia, Ohio, I would think I'd be spammed.
I was
What was
like,
your
"What?"
what was your favorite part of that experience? That's just so cool.
So there were people who had traveled 4 days to get there.
4?
It was
Like 4?
4 days to get
Wow.
to this event from 30 different countries. So all of our events, 200 something people, all different languages being spoken, immediate translation services that as soon as it happens, you pick up a little radio, put it to your ear, dial it to English, and you're hearing in real time. You're sitting at the table with people from other countries who are sharing, their experiences and pitching their ideas. And so, like, here I'm from, Lafayette, Louisiana, and I'm talking to a group from Israel. And, you know, I mean, it's just that was amazing. So one of the evening events, there was, food and dance and a band. And at that moment, seeing all these different countries, people on the dance floor, everybody just having a good time. And I'm like, here's the solution. These are the solutions. These are the people that want to find solutions. And, you know, it's not competitive because it's whoever's idea can take it down to the finish line. You know, the only thing we can do is make our idea as good as it can be. But I'm not in direct competition with anyone else because they're trying to solve such different problems and projects, you know?
So,
So,
so
yeah,
Bill,
go ahead.
well, no, you're touching on my question here. What what problem was Lafayette trying to solve that really encouraged Bloomberg to support you folks in getting you this award?
Right. So we have older neighborhoods and the sewer infrastructure on the private side is failing. So what that means is the sewer lines that are not municipally owned have cracks in the ground. People may or may not be aware. So for us, what happens is we have so many rain events. Like if it, I jokingly say like we're Jurassic because it's just hot, it rains, everything wants to grow here. So every time there's a rain event, it's entering our sewer system through these cracks in the sewer lines, which are being treated as if it's real sewage, but it's not. It's just water runoff that should be going into our drainage system. So what that means for us in these older neighborhoods is our stations that carry sewer water to the processing plant. Every rain event, they're overloaded. So both engines never basically shut off the pumps because they can't get the water out and move it. So then what that says is we can't put any more new units. I mean, just to, new toilets. We can't add new toilets to our system, which means no more houses. Even something that maybe was there before can't be renovated if it's hasn't been in use because we're at
Mhm.
capacity. And we're not truly at capacity, but we're at capacity for what our lift stations can process during rain events. So
Wow.
a new lift station, we're talking, 14 to 17, $18 million for a new lift station. Okay, cool. Like, that's not cool. That's before we add new housing. We can't even invest in that neighborhood to do sidewalks or street lights or new parks because now we just have to do this $20 million lift station. So truly, our mayor president was like, what's at the core of the issue? Like, why are we just trying to keep adding new lift stations? What is the real problem? The problem is on our private side, these breaks in the line. And, a lot of these older neighborhoods might have older people, low moderate income people. They don't have $2,000 sitting around to
Right.
go dig and fix their sewer lines. And
Mhm.
so saying, oh, we'll just take them to compliance and give them a fine if they don't fix it, like that's not a reasonable solution for our residents. I mean, that's not a compassionate way to get things moving. We're going to put people in a worse situation. We want our homeowners, we want families to stay here. So we can't make an environment that's not friendly to having all our original residents stay here.
Yeah.
So by us, this grant is allowing us to, without limitation, fix private side sewer lines at no cost to the homeowner,
Which is awesome.
which is awesome. But the thing I think that sort of piqued Bloomberg's interest was we weren't going to stop there. We understand that our residents allowing us onto their property, allowing us to come and dig it up, they have to trust us to put it back. They have to trust us that we are gonna hold to our word, and not just be flippant. So we are investing back into those neighborhoods. And so when we're going out to talk to them about the problem, We want to also ask them about how they're feeling about their neighborhoods, what kind of investments they want to see that would make their lives better, what would impact them and their families. So we're able to use this model that's going to include our residents' input about their feelings, about their communities, and how their relationship is with the government here and the city, and guide our investments in their communities with their input as a, good faith reaction to them
Sure.
solving the problem of being able to have more housing, more investment, being able to offer more to our community, our neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, Belle, listen, sewer is not a sexy topic, right? Like, most people don't think about their sewer infrastructure until it blows up or something goes wrong, and then they're in a critical need and a crisis, right?
Right.
With
Well,
you guys focusing on the underground sewer project, is this eventually to help you guys build more housing once you get that infrastructure in place?
yes, it is. So we're working with our Lafayette utility system, and they're able to, at these rain events, as we're making the repairs, see what effect that's having on our lift stations. And so as our lift stations perform better because we're closing up the system, then they can tell us how many more units of housing can be added. So I think for Bloomberg too is that we're creating this structure that can be replicated if it shows that it works. So they can go to other communities like ours. We're not a huge city. You know, uh, we have older neighborhoods, we have newer developments, but at some point you run out of land. There's no more. But you know what I mean? We can't keep building and ignore what's in our core neighborhood because everything just keeps breaking. So I think that science as well about, is this $1 million investment going to save, 15 million in the long run and give us the same amount of units that can be added of housing for our communities. I mean, and I think that y'all know me personally, so I talk about Louisiana and our culture a lot. My grandparents were here, their grandparents were here. And this is a place where people grow up, they stay, they live next to their, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's the grandmother, and then there's the mom and dad, and then the kids buy a house down the street so that they can watch the grandkids grow up, and so can babysit. Like we have to have more housing opportunity and entry level housing for our young people to be able to stay here and to make it worth it because our culture basically once it's dispersed, you know, I don't know that it can be rebuilt in the way that we exist. So we're very conscientious that our culture is one of the most marketable things about us, and it's what makes us unique. I mean, I think everywhere has an Outback Steakhouse, but they might not have a Don Seafood Hut or Crawfordtown, USA, or whatever. So we want to make this place unique and for it to reflect who we really are.
This kind of leads me to, you kind of touched on this with the, it sounds like you're surveying sources that they mean. So, you know, is it, did Bloomberg, you said that Bloomberg liked that idea with your application, but is it what you're going to do with that data? Like, what are you going to do? Is that, I'm assuming you're going to do something with that data and
Yeah.
actually make some change, some lasting change
Yes.
within the community that they loved. I'm assuming.
Yes. So, I mean, for me, people are at the core of everything that I do. So there's no process or service that is useful if it doesn't benefit people, and that's just what I feel. So for me, having an opportunity to walk our community and go door to door, and it was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. So my contribution to this was like, oh yeah, we have to get them to sign off, but we have the door open. So the door being open is the perfect opportunity to really ask for true input about their feelings about their neighborhood, like, and changes that they see and improvements that they want to make. So we're also, I mean, I'm not trying to give y'all a plug, you know, but I am. So we are using neighborly software as a data collection method. And so part of that logic model is we have to categorize that qualitative feedback that people are giving us on what types of improvements, right? So we'll have to have a way to separate it out by maybe, you know, quick turnaround projects, like us going in and taking out a
Mhm.
tree that might be dangerous for that street, or longer term, like they want us to put sidewalks that connect this street to that street. So we would have a tiered way to show that input and how many people echo the same sentiments. And then we would look at that, present that to the administration and the directors, and also combine what other projects are going on at the time. So if we're already 2 streets over doing this, we're gonna add on to that. So I also want to say that our city put in another 500,000 to help with these improvements on top
Awesome.
of the Bloomberg investment. Our utility system is adding in another 500,000 to get all of the repairs where they need to be. And then we work closely with all of our other community partners. So while the door is open, we call them really, like, I call them like front porch conversations because we got front porches over here. And that's what we do. And like, you want to pop, let's talk. We're going to sit on your front porch. But so if we see other community resources that our families or homeowners need, that's the time we're going to connect them and let them know about that as well. You know, where we're walking, the homes that we're going into, they might not be super plugged in to council meetings or coterie meetings. They might be older. They might not have internet. Like, this is the time we get to bring everything. And I know, like, paper, whatever. But like, I get to bring a folder, like, these are our services, these are the resources, this is who you contact,
Cool.
and then I get to be like, "Hey, is there anything else we can help you with?" And sort of delicately approach some topics so that I can find out what those other needs are and make sure that they're accessing all the resources that are available in our community. And then we're going to sort of staff those cases. We're going to connect them with other rehab programs. If I go in and like, yeah, we're there for sewer, but I see that the roof is
These
in
repair.
trouble,
Yeah.
then I'm going to be like, hey, we have this program that does that. Is it okay if we bring that to the table to see if we can get that done all at the same time?
That's super cool, Belle, and
Yeah.
I know I was reading a little bit of I was super interested in reading about Bloomberg in general, hearing that you guys won that grant, and there seemed to be some prototyping that had to take place. You guys do that already, or is that coming, and did working with that prototype in your community change how you're gonna run that project?
So the prototyping came after Ideas Camp, and that was like the 50,000. So what our utility system started with a small area that they've already smoke tested. So that's the thing, is like they smoke test to see where the breaks in the lines are. Then we contact those addresses directly. So I mean, I we do the housing rehab program, so I already know a lot of the issues with the homes in our neighborhood, which a big one is tangle title, clear title. If our people don't have clear title, who's signing to allow this work to occur? So that's an
Sounds like
issue.
a snafu.
Right, but Bloomberg, because they're very open and creative, we can use some of that money to support people clearing the title issues. So, like, this is a whole avenue that can create solutions for our future generations to keep those homes, you know, in that family's hands, basically. So I think that was the other wonderful thing about Bloomberg when we say, hey, this is going to be a problem. I see this one has a state of, what are we going to do? And they're like, well, what's going to help? And it might not necessarily help today, but if we create an opportunity where it can help, might be a year from now, but now they can access our rehab services because they have clear title in a different way.
Wow.
So yeah, for the prototyping, we had to go to the homes. We created the packets. We had the initial sort of outreach letter and information. So with this project now, hiring a project manager and a data specialist, we're going to be able to, I think, create better materials. I mean, prototyping is like, hi, it's me. I'm doing this. Like it's rushed. I mean, so this will get to be tweaked and personalized a lot better. And hopefully we can put all that into a pretty package that can be taken to other communities as well. So I don't even know if I answered the question. So sorry.
You did.
No, you did.
I just like
So
went.
yeah, so Bill, as you know, I've been in local government or have, for many years, and I've seen the PSAs from cities, counties, you name it, hey, code enforcement or this, or our growth management plan, or comment on this, or are you interested in this? Like how, as a resident listening to some PSA about this program in Lafayette, like what's going to draw them in or make their life better? How are they going to, want to sign up or apply, or do people apply, or or is it just based on location that they get awarded this opportunity?
Yeah. So for us, we're going to know where the breaks are and we're directly
Mm,
going out to
yeah.
that house. Like we're getting the mailers to them. We are walking to their house. We are knocking on their door. We are leaving information. Like we're gonna you know, pre preload that though, obviously with a marketing campaign so people know that we're coming and already understand what's going to happen. We also have coteries that we'll work directly with when we identify which neighborhood and what order that we're going to go in, so they can help us get information to people so they understand. Those neighborhoods also will be able to help us because they all have to have a neighborhood plan as well. So they already
Mhm.
have some priorities for the neighborhoods. This might help get them funded faster.
That's awesome. Belle, I wish there was a program like that for me. I had my own sewer line pancake a month before my wedding, and I felt lied to when I bought my house because it was the original Orangeburg from 1956. A whole to do. So sewer is so important. It's critical. You got to have it. At leadership, when we talk about leadership and how you guys showed up with this plan, was there anything when you talk about big ideas, a lot of times skepticism comes with that. Was there ever a moment when people questioned whether you guys would have this working the way that it needed to when you guys picked sewer?
I don't think outright, but so part of the process with Bloomberg, you're assigned, I don't even know what they're called anymore because they're just like friends now. But
Like a liaison type of person?
yeah, so they actually came here once we are awarded and we're like
Wow.
steps in, right? And then we do these brainstorming sessions because you do have to identify the threats to the program. So you're working as a group to say, where can we see that this might break down? So we already want to identify where the breakdowns would possibly happen. And you also want to identify the unintended consequences of your actions. So we work through all of that. So I'm kind of like, I'm just a picture person. Like I just imprint on a whole page and it sort of like sticks in my brain forever and ever. That's just, so they're so good at putting all the little blocks and connecting and making the pathways to everything, so you can feel free to just share your ideas
That's
and
cool.
have them record it and then hand that back to you in a very organized, clear way. That's not lost. I think sometimes what happens in government, we all work, and I hate the word silos because it's so like, "Ooh, I'm working a silo."
You can call a spade, it's fine.
But anyway, so what happens is you sort of get this momentum and you're working on this project, and then it relies on another piece, but that person's not as super invested. And then when it gets handed off to them, they're just kind of like, la, 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 la. I don't really feel like doing this today and it's not on fire, so I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? And that's how things just sort of dissolve into this
Yeah.
jello that is government sometimes. So having this outside entity create this mapping system of the process and where the possible pitfalls are so you can bring it back to the top. And so if the administration wants to know why it's not working, I'm like, because I handed it to this department and they're not really super, you know, into it. So they just let it fall. So that is the beautiful thing about Bloomberg. They work with us this whole time. They're gonna come back again. We had a they came to some of our community meetings. We have, like, a health and resource fair that we did in April during National Community Development Week. They came for about an hour, visited with all of our different partners. I mean, they're very invested throughout the process. And again, working in government, you don't always have enough bandwidth
Yeah.
with personnel to do what needs to be done. And that's
Yeah.
so
You're at capacity, you're moving a million miles a minute, you got your to-do list that goes on forever.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then I have to stop for like 45 minutes to an hour and a half and try to enter something in a new accounting system to pay $2.12. It's like, this my life? This is my life? I mean, sorry. Sorry, all governments. But having these people who are dedicated to this project and supporting you in whatever way needs to be done. So my program manager position and the data specialist had 100 applications to review.
Yeah.
I already run 5 other programs and I needed to hire, I think, 3 other people for the other programs.
Yeah.
So I went through them and I was like, "Hey, can y'all just do like initial tag team interview on this group of people?" Because if it's not worth a second interview, you've just saved me, you know, 5 hours of my week, which is thank you, Jesus. So I mean, I'm very, very grateful for them.
Bell, I think earlier you quoted John Bon Jovi song. I think this is my life. It's now or never. Connect that sewer. Let's go. I think you mentioned collaboration in a lot of that. So there's like obviously Bloomberg was a big part of that, and them sending
Yes.
people down and collaborating
Mhm.
with you. But I'm thinking of other cities that might want to apply for this in the future. But what are the other partners? You mentioned partners just a minute ago. Like, who are those partners in the city or in the community that are helping you with make this a successful project and with Bloomberg?
So we are already where I work, it's called the Taylor Center. It's outside of City Hall. We're in a neighborhood, we're completely freestanding, and the programs that we do, we already connect and collaborate with our community rehab partners. So we have Habitat for Humanity that has a Healthy Homes grant. We have Rebuilding Together. Like monthly, we get our social service network people to come in and talk about the services that they offer the community. So we're always keeping and growing our network of partners to make sure that we're on top of what's going on in the community. Our regional coalition on homelessness and housing, they're called ARCH here. We have the Acadiana Housing Alliance. Like we all participate in that way to keep the conversation going. And this is another tool because we also have a developers committee with the Housing Alliance because we want to know what's stopping development or what's working well with with our codes department, or because if they don't want to build housing here, like, there's nothing we could do. So we've been working with them a couple of years. So this project is gonna part of that is coming back to the developers and letting them know that now it's open. We have more opportunities. So like I said, we always work with them in that way. Since I've started, that was one of my priorities because I want to make sure if we can't meet someone's needs, I don't just, like, send them to the 232 help And then I
Yeah.
want to already know who supports what in the community and be like, hey, we have this client. We can't address this. Can y'all take them off? So it's like a soft handout off
Mhm.
to make it easier for our constituents. So our intentions with this program too is to do those staffings weekly. So we're going out, we're meeting with people, we're finding out where the needs are, even outside of the sewer. And then we're sort of like, okay, sending off the troops to get the other things done. But we have to prioritize having those conversations weekly so everybody stays on the same page. And again, for the sake of what's the word I'm looking for? Being responsible for doing what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
So
Well,
having that constant follow up. So, hey, y'all said y'all were going to reach out to her. Nobody's talked to her. Now it's been a month. What's going on? You know,
mhm. Well,
tracking.
and Bill, I've met most of your community partners. I've met your habitat group, your continuum of care folks, and you have some fantastic partners, and they have nothing but amazing things to say about your local government agency, which is kind of rare. A lot of partners across the country might complain about not getting paid or not getting enough funding. Yeah, you don't see that in your community, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
If there was another city listening to this podcast right now that wanted to figure out and how to tackle a major challenge in their community that felt impossible for years, what's the biggest lesson that you guys learned through this entire journey winning the Bloomberg Award?
I just don't take no for an answer. So
We know this for a
We
fact.
know this about you.
I'm like, until it's a real no, like your feelings about no, it doesn't matter. Like until you give me the real reason that it cannot be done,
I know.
I'm not listening it to you say it can't be done because so and so 13.5 years ago tried one time on the side of the street to ask somebody's third cousin if they would let them fix their sewer and they said no. So now we're never going to be able to do. Like that's crazy. And like
Your community is so lucky to have you, Belle. I mean, I enjoy when you call me on a Friday at 5 p.m. on your way home and be like, "How can we fly to the moon, but we can't get people into housing, Leah?" Like we did that decades ago. It's one of my
yeah.
favorite things.
So
Or if it can't, if it doesn't work for my 90-year-old grandma or my 5-year-old kid, like why are we
yeah,
making it so hard?
why are we making it so hard? Life is hard enough. Every day you got to wake up and do the same boring stuff. So like, let's make the interim fun and as simple as possible. Because again, for instance, my sister and her husband, like when you say, "What are you, a rocket scientist?" Like, yes, yes. They're and yet they can talk to anyone. They can make things understandable to anyone.
That's awesome.
So the fact that you want to sit in your knowledge and make other people uncomfortable because they don't know your lingo, that doesn't make you smarter then. That makes you less capable in my estimation because you have to be able to communicate. People are not stupid, but you need to use language that they can grasp. So if you use coded language that people cannot understand, that's your own failing. Like you need to go take a class, not them. It's not, anyway, that's just me getting
Well,
wound up. But
I just, for our listeners, I think this is when I looked at the list of 24 awardees. I mean, Barcelona, Spain, Budapest, Hungary, Cape Town, South Africa, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Toronto, Canada, Surabaya, Indonesia, and Lafayette, Louisiana. Like I
No,
would have never guessed. Like, come on, Belle, let's go.
I know,
go.
I know. It's so crazy. I
When
agree.
you told me that you were going to Colombia, I thought you were joking. And I was like, what do you mean you're in Colombia for work? Like, what could you possibly be doing for this Lafayette Consolidated Government in Colombia?
Most governments don't even let their employees out of the state, let
Or
alone
go to a
out of the
conference that costs
country.
$500, let alone out of the country.
No. So initially they were like, "Oh, it's dangerous. We don't nah, I'm not sending people or whatever." I was like, "I'm good. Like, I can get hit in a car down the street. I'd much rather die on a trip to Colombia than just in some like wreck at the corner." Like,
Okay, so listen, Belle, because Marty and I both know that you are a major foodie, and I know if I'm going to dinner with Belle, I'm having the best meal because I'm also a foodie, and you literally make that almost like your second full-time job, finding the best restaurants in the United States. What was the favorite thing that you ate while you were in Colombia?
okay, so when I tell you that they bring you there, but you are not like chilling. They are working you from 8:30 a.m. until I mean, it's social things later in the evening, but you are from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. Like, it does not stop. So, it was very curated in that. So first but they do such a good job, you hardly feel like, so there were so many fruits that I had never tried in my life. At all the snacks and everything's just amazing. So like this is me. I'm sure if there's pictures, I probably everywhere I'm going, I'm carrying a tiny plate of fruit. Like
Believe it.
every break, like I go to the bathroom and I come back with like new little fresh fruits that I'm gonna try. But on the third, the last day, you got out a little bit early because people were flying. So we had a short afternoon where we went up a mountain. I think it's called Montserrat. And you take like a cable car up to the top, and there's this amazing church. And also, which didn't really understand fully until I got there is a restaurant built into the side of this mountain. It was a house in France that was dismantled and brought to Colombia in I don't know what year, I'm gonna be lying,
Wow.
put back together, and then it was someone's home. Then I feel like in the early '70s, it was dismantled again, brought up this mountain, and then put back together, and it's a restaurant. So this is my one day to just eat freely, you know what I mean? Like, I'm free and loose. So the menu in this restaurant had different regional chefs who had different prepared meals using the ingredients from their region. So it gave you like a little discussion and what it was and what the thing. So this was the first time that I had traveled with the two other people from Lafayette Consolidated Government. So I had to forewarn them about what was about to happen to our table. I was like, okay, listen, y'all can do this with me or you can watch me and talk about it later. But I was like, I'm ordering about 5 things and I might eat 5 bites off of everything, but I'm ordering them all because I don't know when I'm going to come back and
Yeah.
be able to do this again. So they were like, "No, we're in." I was like, "Okay, let's go." So I mean, we had the table covered. I'm trying to think what think there was like a fish dish and it was like cooked in a leaf. You know what I mean? So like you
Mhm.
unwrapped it and that one was amazing. There was another one that was just it was almost like a barbecue roast of all different types of meats and vegetables that it'd almost be like it would be cooked in coals, but it's like
Mhm.
in a clay pot. So you just open it up and it's just smothered and anyway, it's all good.
That's awesome, Bill. Well, we want to thank you so much for sharing your story and what you guys are doing in your community and the, Bloomberg philanthropy, getting some insight on what that really looks like. Sounds really cool program.
It is.
Love to meet those folks some days, kind of be a fly on the wall of what it's like to work in international,
Yeah.
solving big challenges. But hopefully you had a good time, Belle. We are going to be cheering you guys on for tackling a major challenge because I know you guys can't build any housing unless you tackle that sewer issue. So awesome for taking on the least sexiest problem a city can have.
It's always funny to say, we can't add more turlets and then everybody laughs. So it's a good like breaker. But I just do want to say this. So if these projects work in these neighborhoods and then we expand beyond, we hope to be able to open up or unlock about 10,000 more units over the
That's
next
awesome.
5 to 10 years. So like that's amazing.
Huge.
That's
Yeah.
in our current neighborhoods that we have, So super excited about that.
Bravo, Bill. Nice job.
Thank you. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.